Across the nation. My name is Roger Muir. I'm the VP of Student Success here at Altius Test Prep. And we're here in our corporate offices in Provo, Utah, streaming to you guys live so that we can have some interaction in regards to your MCAT experience, your pre-med world, getting ready for applications that are coming up in the next month or so. Just really wanting to give you some training and insights in regards to helping you succeed. To that end, I'm gathered around here today by my peers, my colleagues, my good friends. This is a portion of the Altius executive team. And maybe what we'll do is just take a second, let each of you introduce yourselves and kind of your roles with Altius. And then we'll go into kind of a Q&A session. We'd like to share some of the Altius background with you and answer a lot of your questions. And so feel free to chime in on the chat and share your thoughts or questions there. And we'll field as many of those questions as we can through this conversation. So, Clyde, let's start with you. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
I'm Clyde Wixom. I'm the Executive Vice President for Altius and really excited about the day's events. We've had a chance to talk to almost all of the prize winners as we've gone through, and that's been a delightful part of the day. And really excited about some of the things that we're doing. My primary focus, like Roger's, is student success. So we're over the operations and the details for our students as they move forward in the program. So whether it's the mentoring or the curriculum, so really love to be part of this team. It's a pleasure.
It's cool. Ryan.
My name's Ryan Ellison. I am the Director of Operations, and so I help out. Operations is kind of ambiguous, right? So I just do a lot of what needs to be done, and it's a fantastic opportunity, fantastic organization. So I take care of all that stuff.
Awesome. Thank you. You do a great job. Brian, how about you?
Brian Muir. I'm the Director of Student Success, so I help with Clyde, Roger, Conrad, Ryan, this whole team here, help with customer service, enrollment, and work really closely with our students in the 90th percentile guarantee. So I've been with Altius going on 5 years now. Love the team and love to be a part of what we're doing here for the pre-meds.
Awesome. And Conrad.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm the Director of Mentoring and Achievement for Altius. I work with all of our tutors, mentors, instructors, and make sure that they are trained, and I make sure that students are succeeding and having a good time in Altius while also getting amazing MCAT scores.
That's cool. I thought it might be fun for you to hear and learn about kind of the background of Altius and our roots and kind of how this all got started and the heart and soul behind our mission and vision and what we're trying to accomplish for pre-meds across the nation. So, Clyde, do you want to share that with us?
Yeah. So our founder and CEO is Lauren Curtis, and Lauren, like many of you, was getting ready to prepare for his MCAT and purchased a number of different programs and studied his guts out. Really worked hard. Took all the practice exams that the AMC had at the time, and he noticed that the materials that he was working with and the actual content that was on the practice exams from the AAMC were quite different. He ended up taking the MCAT and getting a perfect score. Back then it was a 45. And to feed his family and to kind of make his gap year effective, he ended up mentoring other students and tutoring them to help them do well on the MCAT, and did a phenomenal job. The results that very first year were exceptional. So much so that as he was getting ready to start, well, the other piece that really I'm proud of, he doesn't like me to say, but now nationally, he applied to 11 medical schools and got accepted to 10, which is absolutely phenomenal. So he chose his best option in his first year of medical school. He didn't have time to mentor all of the students who had heard about Lauren from the students that he mentored. And literally there was no way he could handle the number of students that were asking for help in getting ready for the MCAT. So he turned to those mentors who he helped, or those students that he helped, and ask them to help tutor them. And that really was the genesis for Altius. That has grown from 21 students to thousands of students every year that we help get ready to take the MCAT. And literally 220, 215 mentors this year have helped several thousand students get a great MCAT score. But we're really excited about that beginning for two reasons. Number one, we know what it takes. The executive team to this point hasn't taken the MCAT, but our founder has, and many of the individuals who are on this team and sitting before you have. We're excited about the making a difference, and really that's the core of Altius. Lauren, when he started, wanted to help others do well. He was disappointed by the fact that there are so many students who weren't prepared for the MCAT when they thought they were.
Yeah.
And that's what we're all about.
You know, I'm thinking of, he told me at one point that those students that he initially tutored, he felt like when they first took their MCAT, they were out to become better doctors than he would become initially.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
and he felt it a shame that he had studied with them and worked with them, and they had learned and grown together. And then this one test actually kind of tripped them up and kind of robbed their dream from them initially. And so, it's amazing for some individuals can like course correct, you know what I mean? In the middle of it, you kind of see it for what it is and you figure it out and you make it happen. But for most pre-med students, there's a lot of test anxiety and a lot of nerves that go into that experience. And you're basically hoping to just kind of fall back on your training and move forward. And that's what most of them did. And so the ability to then tutor these individuals and help them see the difference. They then went and took the MCAT again, got really incredible scores, and ended up going off to medical school. And then their friends are like, wait, what was the difference?
Yeah,
right. How do you do that? And so that kind of became that process of one individual succeeding, then teaching somebody else how to replicate that same experience, that same study habit, that same behavioral pattern. And then once they figure it out, basically paying it forward to the next group and going, okay, now let me show you the difference. And it's been perpetuated now for 15 years and just over and over again replicated by one individual that crushed it, figuring it out and sharing that with the next group. So it's really kind of a powerful thing. So, well, with that, let's talk for a minute and address kind of the thought of, that was the genesis. What about now? What kind of that kind of got Lauren going by virtue of there was a need and students really hungry for that. What keeps things going at this point? I guess what I'd like to know is what gets you up in the morning, Ryan? What are the kinds of things that make this an exciting experience for you?
Yeah, I appreciate the question. I would answer, it's simple for me. I've worked for a number of different companies in my career. I'm getting a little older now. I'm almost to 50. And I've worked at companies that sold get rich quick schemes. I've worked at companies that sell coaching on real estate and on investments. And I've worked in the credit card industry, and I've worked in a lot of places, and I've never worked for a company with a product that I believed in as much as I do at Altius. That's what gets me up, is because I'm excited to help build a product that I know works, that has been proven to work, that has been proven the third-party scores show that what we do works. And so I'm at a point in my life where I want to make a difference now. Mm-hmm. I want to help people. I know that sounds a little cliche maybe, but once you've kind of been through your life experiences, then you kind of want to create a legacy for yourself. And this is a place where I can build that legacy of helping people succeed and achieve great things.
Yeah. There's a point of that life as another old guy, right? there's a point in your life where you got to prove it to yourself, right? Where you feel like I got to prove it to myself and move my career forward. But there is definitely that point where you're like, yeah, I got it. I understand it. How can I really bless the lives of others or change and impact, something on a more, robust scale. Yep. So I relate to that. Brian, how about you? What gets you up?
Well, obviously there's the family kids, but working with Altius is an incredible thing. As we were talking about a need, I'd say that there's just as much, if not more, of a need today with COVID and cancer and all these things that we're dealing with. It's not, we're out there to make incredible doctors, and we get to bless the lives of students that may not, they may feel robbed of that dream simply because of the red tape that this exam creates. But we can cut through that, and we can give some of the most amazing doctors that could be actually, will be. And they'll be the people that can change the world. And so it's really cool to be a part of that.
That's awesome. From that end, what about the challenges? Obviously, there's been challenges and difficulties along the way. So, what would you say, Clyde, is maybe some challenges that have been part of our experience?
One of the greatest challenges that I'm most proud of that Altius has overcome is in 2015 when the AMC changed its format to its current format to today. We took that challenge on, and it was a monumental undertaking, both in terms of financial resources and personal effort and time, primarily from Lauren. I can't take much credit for all that he's done in that regard, but taking the practice exams that the AMC had were no longer available simply because they didn't apply. When the new format came out, we met that year, 2015, with 10 full-length practice exams that were very, very accurate. We were surprised at how accurate we were. And really what we ended up doing was replicating the process that the AMC generates their exams, and did the same. We did the research to find out what types of questions and looking at the details, and went into some pretty elaborate methods to determine how that was done, including looking at some FBI software that we repurposed to be able to identify patterns, and looked at the way that the MCAT was written, and then did our best to replicate that same style, the same density of word usage, and there's 100 different criteria that we looked at. And when we got those very first results back, it was a 515.2 average score. And for that very first year out of the gate, that for me was one of the greatest obstacles that Altius has overcome. Yep. And nailed it.
Yep. Because basically at that point, we just had to predict it, because we didn't know any different from the AMC, what they were going to be putting out, right? And so our team and Lauren and PhDs and whatnot basically had to kind of predict what that was going to transform into, and to be able to do so and then enhance upon that and replicate it to what it is today. It's really, that's really cool. That's really cool. Conrad, anything come to your mind?
Yeah, well, we have a very interesting system, and I really like how we set it up. All of our MCAT instructors, our tutors, mentors, we use those words interchangeably. They have all gone through and done what all of our students are trying to do. So those students have gone in, they've taken the MCAT, they've scored incredibly. They worked through the Altius program. They had phenomenal scores, and the plus side for them is that having a phenomenal MCAT score gets you into medical school generally, usually your first round. The bad news for me, who's hiring all of these individuals, is we have them for maybe a year. And so it's been really fun to watch Altius grow. I remember when I first started, we were maybe 50 of us maybe. And as we were looking at Altius growing, we said, shoot, tutors may be our, rate limiting step here. We need to figure out a way to generate more tutors and how to get more of these individuals, because they just keep leaving. And it's been amazing to watch as Altius has grown, how many succeeding students we have who want to come back and pay it forward to other students. And it's really incredible. From when I first started there, we had maybe 2 other out of Utah locations, and now we're very much a national company. All over the place. We have classes from Washington State in Seattle to Miami, Florida. And it's really cool to see how the growth has been able to happen while still maintaining that quality. And just, I wish that we could show our students how much effort and energy goes into training and helping our tutors really understand what it takes to take all of our students as a whole and move them up to that next level. And I think that our score report from last year, moving up from a 515 to a 516.4, really shows that as we grow, we're not losing our efficacy. We're still as effective, if not more effective, than we were in the past, which is really encouraging and exciting to see.
That's really cool to think through, right? It's really cool.
The tricky thing about it, right? The reason it's so hard for our mentors to stick around is because we are so successful. They all get accepted in all these medical schools, and we lose them after their gap year. So, yeah.
But it's a good problem to have, right?
Exactly.
That's the entire
That's
purpose
the whole
and point
purpose.
of it all.
I was going to add something that I think an obstacle that's related to this that we've overcome is profit margin. And I know a lot of pre-meds are also, doing a second major in economics or in, getting their MBA as well, because you guys are overachievers. We haven't given up or sacrificed or minimalized what we deliver in order to make more money, which is something that a lot of our competitors have done. And if you look at the world in general, business, we're in a general movement right now to make things more online, more simple, more one-to-many, right? So that the plan is, let's figure out how we can maximize profit margin. And that's great, because that's how you keep a business running. But one of the things that I love, as I alluded to before, when I like getting up here at Altius and working here, is because we haven't gone that direction. And that doesn't mean that our programs aren't important to us and our technology is not important to us, but we've continued to stick with the mentored approach because we know the mentored approach works. It costs us more. We could just have students sign up and just send them to an online portal and say, go ahead and read, go through the lessons, do everything online, and then we'd be our competitors, right? But instead, we have mentors who we know can get you that 516.4 or higher, and we can guarantee it. And the reason we can guarantee it is because we're not just sending you off to fend for yourself on a online program, right? Our online stuff is fantastic, but it's our mentors that really make the difference and really give us the ability to have those guarantees that we offer.
It's true. It's really true.
Great point.
We talk about those types of things and these scores and these averages of 516.4. That's a little bold in some cases, right? Oftentimes I get questions about, how is it that you're posting these scores? How is it that with the national average of a 500, Altius repeatedly is hitting 515 and 516? And I think it's really important to note that when we say that, we're talking about an average, right? Imagine what the scores have to be in order for 516.4 to be the average, okay? And I want to touch on that because a lot of people wonder, is that too good to be true? How does that really happen? And I often, want to make it clear too that this isn't an automatic, right? It's not like swiping your credit card gets you a score. Right. There's a lot of work and effort that goes into this whole thing and these tutors and the training and things that Conrad talked about. So how can we be so confident in that score? And how can we share such a score nationally all the time? And it's on our website. And
really
too good to be true.
Like you, Roger, I've got lots of people who are asking, how do you, make those numbers work? And really probably the biggest reason we publish our scores is because of that accountability. We want to be able to hold ourselves accountable to making a difference. As you were asking others, what gets you up in the morning, I was identifying with Brian and with Ryan about, making a difference and It might sound cliche. We have the confidence to make a difference because we're checking ourselves. We want to make sure that we're holding ourselves accountable like we hold our students accountable, that we want to have an independent party do that validation so that we know we are making a difference, that we have an impact that is for good, rather than to, be on some illusion that we're making a difference when we're not. So we wanted to make sure that this was legit, that this was something that we weren't trying to manufacture some elusive outcome that really didn't exist. And that's I think the biggest reason why we want to publish our scores, not only to make sure that we're doing our job, but to make sure that others know as well.
That's great.
Yeah, and I think,
Conrad, you tutor a lot of students.
Yeah,
I
was thinking about that a lot because a lot of times people don't realize that number is specifically based off of students who follow our program. And then, everyone goes, oh, well, there's probably all these little teeny hidden things, where it's like, trying to redeem your rewards points on your credit card. It's like impossible to do, right? No, it's not at all. We have 15 activities. They're super simple. It's, go to class, do your homework, review follow the program, follow our system, and you'll get that score. And it happens over and over and over again. And the important thing that I think every student needs to know in regard to Altius, because I see all these, other, YouTube videos or advertisements for other MCAT programs and stuff. And they go, oh, we're going to give you the most streamlined and the easiest way to go about, doing the bare minimum to just get by. And that's such a bad mentality to have, especially when you're thinking of, becoming a future physician, right? I don't want to go, oh yeah, I'm just going to hopefully get through this surgery. Hopefully it's okay. Right. And our program is hard. It is. I mean, it's rigorous. It's tough, but it helps you not only get a great MCAT score, but it helps you develop the skills that you need to be a successful medical student, a successful physician, and ultimately helps you become a better learner. That's one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about this program, is because there's a character transforming process. I know that sounds very cheesy, but there's very much this transformative process that happens as you follow the program and as you work through your own individual struggles and your needs with your mentor, with your tutor. They help you out with all of those as you go through, and it's very repeatable. It's very much a rinse and repeat kind of process, because it's set up scientifically. It just works. I mean, that's how it goes. If you drop a ball from a building, it goes down to the bottom of the building. It's physics. That we have all of our stuff is science based. It is. Yeah,
that's really an important factor, I think. None of it's cutesy made up. It's all scientifically proven. It's researched. If it's not a positive learning technique that is proven to actually improve your retention or your learning or your score development, we don't implement it. There's enough other busy, hard work in life for these pre-meds to do. So, if we could shorten that or tighten it down, we certainly would. But these are the things that really pull it all together. I often tell students that it's much like a 737. I fly all the time, and I look out the window at the wing, and I look at all the little rivets that are on that wing, and I think they probably don't need all of those, right? And then I stop mid-flight, and I'm looking out the window like, man, I'm sure glad they're all there. I would hate to be looking out the window and seeing one missing. And that's really the strength of our guarantee and of our course, and these scores that we produce and report, is that there is a methodology to it. And if you follow that methodology, the same results happen over and over again.
A great example of that is I was talking to a student a little while ago, and they were asking, do you seriously make your students take 10 tests their final month? Why don't you just turn that into a final 3 weeks? Because I've got finals, and it's, I've got researching and shadowing. And she's like, you can't honestly expect me to do this. And I said, well, if you want to get your score, then absolutely you should. If we wanted to cut this down, we certainly would. But, when, just like that 737, you don't want to say, well, how many rivets can we take out before the plane falls apart, right? And every single thing that we do is in there for a specific purpose. And that's what's so important about the program, right? You'll hear all the time if you purchase one of our programs, the tutors follow the program, the customer service follow the program. Everybody is telling you to follow the program, and it's because it's proven to work.
Great. Good point.
Yes.
We're running close on time.
Well, I'll tell you what, before we depart, any students that come to mind? You were talking about this little story about your student. Is there anybody that kind of comes to mind in regards to maybe overcoming the odds? Or
I had one real quickly. She called me when she was on family vacation, and she was a non-traditional student. She actually has high school kids and kids in college, and she wanted to go, after raising her family, she wanted to go back to school and become a physician. And it was a pretty tough pull. And we became friends as she was doing her research on which program to take, and she was being smart. She was doing her research and figuring out what the differences were between us and others. And then I remember working with Brian. Do you remember helping her? This is the student who ended up coming to our location. She was in Salt Lake. So she, with her busy schedule, she ended up driving 50 miles to get to the right center that came here at our offices here, so that she could get a class at the right time. And we made some accommodations to help her with that. When she got her MCAT score, and then again when she got accepted into medical school, she sent me a text and said, "Thank you. I am so excited. I got into the one school I was hoping for the most, that my top school, she got in." And it was really rewarding for me to have her send that email, or text is what it was. Just it made my day. I remember sharing it with Lauren and saying that's what the long days are all about. It was a long shot.
To put, bring it full circle, that's why we get up, right?
Absolutely.
Those texts, those calls, and they happen all the time.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
it's really rewarding. Well, gentlemen, thank you. Appreciate your time and your effort and your energies, and hope this was of help and value to all those that were participating. I've got some awards to give away. So this first one is one of our Emerald admissions programs. This is a free review of your personal statement. This is a $489 award. So, Brian, why don't you find out who that award's going to?
So this Emerald admissions package is going to Saren Lee at Brigham Young University.
Oh, cool.
Emerald admissions package. Congratulations.
Awesome. Saren, our team will reach out to you with a text and email to help you get all the pieces put together. The final one for this segment is an elite program. This is a near 11-week classroom experience with all of the materials that you need. $2,499. Conrad, you've trained the tutors that are going to help this student.
This is awesome. The winner is Cordelia Iliajo from Hunter College in New York.
Oh, cool. New York City.
Yeah, New York City.
Cordelia.
Congratulations. That's exciting.
Very nice.
All the way in New York.
I know, right? Team, that is some great stuff. I sure appreciate the interaction, and congratulations to these recipients. You know, we touched for a minute, Conrad, talking about these tutors that come through this process, get a really great score, and then move on to medical school. Let me put a little plug in here for the next group of mentors. Altius has actually developed what we call our Future Mentor Scholarship. And it's a scholarship program to help individuals that would like to get a killer MCAT score, but then during their application cycle and while you're going through that next piece, actually pay it forward to your pre-med friends and to others. So I'm gonna have my team put up a link in the chat to give you the application for the Future Mentor Scholarship. And the power of this is the ability to dramatically reduce your tuition on an Altius course. And then while you're taking the program, getting a little extra focus and attention, kind of an on-the-job training, so that as you attend these classes and go through the experience, you're doing so with the mindset of, I'm going to be teaching this class next, right? I'm going to be the one to do this on the next time around. And so the tuition is dropped. The experience is enhanced because the teacher always learns more than the student does. It becomes a really powerful way for you to get your score. Once you achieve your 515 score, we will hire you to be the next mentor. Now, we start our mentors at $25 an hour, right? I always joke that that's not yet good doctor money, but it's awesome college money. Yes. And my college students, my college kids love that kind of a thought process. So imagine getting past this anxiety of taking the MCAT, having a really awesome score, having developed a network and a friendship with a bunch of people in that same mentality and that same professionalism and that same R2A, refuse to accept excuses. And we just kind of all work together to help each other get those killer scores. And then you begin paying that forward. While you pick up the application experience, oh my gosh, you think getting ready for the MCAT is expensive. It's the application process that's expensive. Most students will spend $3,000 to $8,000 or $9,000 in applications and reviews and airplane flights and interviews and rental cars. It's an expensive step. Don't let that be the next hurdle, right? Let this be a career path to figure out this MCAT, get a great score, a fantastic job that will help you pay for that. And then while you're getting ready to go to medical school, you're actually learning the MCAT for a second time. Only this time without the stress of the score, you're just learning a second time to become a much better doctor and physician. We're not here so much to sell programs or even to cram for a test. We're really concerned about the health industry and about the quality of the doctors, physicians, and surgeons that are going to take care of Clyde down the road. See, he's going to be an old man one of these days. We're going to be the guys on the gurney, and we want somebody really well certified there. So we're looking to create awesome doctors, and that starts today. Not when you get the white lab coat, not when you open your clinic. You make a commitment to your career and get serious about it today, and we'll help you through this whole career path. With that in mind, thank you for joining us. We'll talk to you again at the top of the hour. We're going to launch another segment, and we're going to give away another grand prize. This grand prize is going to be a free iPad coupled by a half tuition scholarship for one of our silver programs. It's a multi-$1,000 award that we'll give out at the top of the hour. We're going to introduce you to my friend Eric Mielstein, who's going to tell you his story of what it was like to interact with the doctors and surgeons during his life-threatening situation. So
the patient perspective.
From the patient's perspective. Yep. So with that in mind, thank you again. And we look forward to seeing you guys at the top of the hour.
Take care.